Carolyn Dube here. What's the play today? Well, today I'm gel printing using a produce bag. Now there is something really cool and customizable that these things can do on a gel plate. And then there was also something that surprised me that it couldn't do or didn't do. And so I've got all that waiting for you here in this video. So come, let's go make some prints together. I start by cutting a piece out of the produce bag. This way it's flat and I can work with it easily. When I'm looking at produce bags, the ones that I really like are the ones that have a really wide weave to them. That makes this process a lot easier. All I'm doing is dragging my fingers so that I can pull the threads out of alignment. Before they'd been in this great little grid, and now they've got all these wavy, irregular portions to it. And you can create as many of these as you want in there or as few. And you can make the waves really big and deep or really subtle. Again, a whole lot of options with this. When I'm cutting out the pieces of the produce bag, I also do make them larger than the space that I want to print with, simply because the edges can fray very easily. The threads around the edges can come off, so that's why I tend to make it bigger than what I need. So I've got room to not have to sweat if a thread comes loose. Well, now let's use this to make a print. As I'm pushing the produce bag on here, I expected the plate to grab it and firmly hold it in place. But no, it was not going to do that. It is loosely sitting on top of that. It's uneven. This was a big surprise to me. I really thought the plate would just grab it and perfectly hold it in place. It didn't, and guess what? It's okay. It's all still going to work. Now that I've got a layer of paint loaded onto my brayer, I'm simply going to roll right over that mesh. And before I do the next row, I'm going to go and grab more paint on that brayer again. I'm going to just roll it to make sure that I've got a nice amount of paint on that brayer and roll right next to that very first row. Now I happen to be using a gel plate over there to where I'm loading up the paint onto that brayer, but you can use a piece of plastic any place that you want to get that paint loaded on there. There is a very specific reason why I like using a gel plate to do this, and later in the video you'll see exactly why. You can use whatever kind of paper you like to use to take the print. Here I'm using a lightweight cardstock, but again, any kind of paper you like to use on the plate, you can use here. Now these prints, I am loving how they look in black and white, but if you've seen many of my videos, you know how much I love color, so yeah, I'm going to be adding a little bit of color to these later in the video. And once I saw this ghost print, I had an idea for what I wanted to do with the next ghost print, so let's make another print. Now when you're making the next print using the produce bag, if there are some threads that you want to rearrange, perhaps you want a little bit bigger curve somewhere, or you want to push some closer together or farther apart, while the paint is still wet, you can move those around some, although it's the easiest to do when there's no paint on it. Because once you've used this a few times, there's going to get to be a layer of paint on top of it, which makes sense because I'm rolling paint right on top of it, right? Once that paint dries, it's very hard to move those threads, which is great because that means it'll hold its shape anytime you want to use it to print. And another cool thing about it is that mesh can actually become a piece of ephemera. It can be something that you add into a collage, an art journal page, anything else that you're creating. I'm using a lightweight cardstock here to take the first pull, but just because I use one kind of paper for the first pull doesn't mean I can't use a different one for the ghost print. And so that bit of pattern that's on there, I'm going to bring in tissue paper, because you really can use just about any kind of paper on a gel plate. And if you'd like to know more about gel printing with tissue paper, I've got an entire YouTube video on that, and I'll have that link down below for you. Oh, and of course, all the supplies that I'm using, if you wonder where I get my colored tissue paper, that kind of stuff, I'll have all those links down below for you as well. Now, what about the black paint that's over there on that smaller gel plate that's acting as my palette? Is it going to get wasted? Nope. Once I'm done printing, I'm simply going to take it and use it like a big ink pad and push it right down on top of that mesh onto another gel plate. And this is why I really love to use gel plates as my palettes, because every bit of paint can be used, because I can just repeat this process over and over again until I've used up all the paint that's on that palette gel plate. Just about anything can be used to make patterns on a gel plate. I mean, this was something from the produce section that was going to end up in the trash or the recycle bin. So take a look around your home. You might be surprised of all the different things you already have right there that you can use to play with on your gel plate. And of course, if you'd like some inspiration, some ideas of different ways to do some prints, I've got a bunch of YouTube videos for you. So you can hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know as soon as I've got a new one out. And of course, you can check out all my existing videos too. And when you're ready to go deeper, to take your prints up to that next level, check out my online gel printing workshops. You can find them all over at acolorfuljourney.com. Now that I'm done making a bunch of black and white prints, what can I do to them? Well, I can give them a punch of color. And so once you make a gel print, you can actually go in and add embellishments and things on top of it. And so that's what I'm going to show you now. I'm using watercolors here for a very specific reason. Actually, two specific reasons. One is it's fast. Okay, I guess it's three reasons now. It's fast. I don't have to be precise because I'm not a super precise person when it comes to coloring things in. And the third reason is because it's translucent. So that means even if I paint over part of the pattern, that black pattern is still going to show. This took me about 30 minutes to add the color and pattern onto this print. And while it was relaxing to do, it's not quite so relaxing to watch. 30 plus minutes of this. So I've sped up the camera here so that you can get the feeling of it, the gist of it, so you know how you can do it on your prints. Now, what if you don't have watercolors? What else can you use to do this? Well, if you've got paint, simply add some water to it and that will water it down and you can then use that. What if you like using markers, pens, Copics, Pitt pens, whatever? Absolutely. Because with this, whatever art supply you've got, whichever one you like using, absolutely use it for this. Now, I debated stopping about here where there was part of it in black and white and part of it in color, but the color called to me way too much today, so I ended up putting color just about everywhere. Once I got the watercolor on though, I wanted to add some more to it. So I started filling in those white spaces with circles. I'm just using a Posca pen here, and I'm making the circles as big as the space is. So if there's a big space, I'm making a big circle. And if there's a little space, I'm just putting an itty bitty little dot. And once I got those on, I brought in a white paint pen and I put dots of white on top of it. Once I've got all those dots done, this page is feeling complete to me. So now it's ready to be used in an art journal, in a card, or in a collage. Well, thanks so much for joining me for today's play. If you've enjoyed this video, if you'd had fun, I'd so appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you know of somebody that you think would enjoy this, share this video with them so they can join in the play too. And of course, if you want to know as soon as I have a new video out, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be in the know. If you want to see more of what I'm up to, I'm over at acolorfuljourney.com. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.